Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter today. The event's scheduled for 20 minutes. We do have a bunch to cover today, so I'm hopeful we can get through it all in the 20 minutes that we have, but we might go a little bit over. So if you have to leave, feel free to do so. That's fine. I am recording this event, so I'll have it cleaned up and put on the website later today. So if you have to bounce early or if you want to share it with somebody else, it will be out on the website at churchwindows.com for you to watch. Again, if you were with us last week, you got to work with this new Demio webinar platform that we're using. If this is your first time, welcome. There is still a place for you to ask questions. It's actually in the chat, and I have the chat set to private, so your question doesn't go out to everybody. It'll only go directly to me, and then I'll be able to get you an answer for any topical questions that you might have throughout the webinar. Feel free to type them in while I'm presenting, or feel free to put them in at the end. I typically don't read the questions until after the presentation because I get myself mixed up if I'm trying to read a question and talk to everyone here. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. The content today has to do with all of the compare and analyze reports that we have available for you in the donations module. The information that I'm going to be going over is from one of our workbooks. It's from the Donations 105 workbook, and it's pages 24 through 52. So it's a big chunk of that book. I'm not going to be going through line by line of the book. I'm more so using it as a guide or an outline. So if you have the book, feel free to follow along. If you want to purchase the book, you can do that out at churchwindows.com. And then it's under our training options. There's our training workbooks. All right, so when you go into the donations module, across the top, when you click on reports and export, and then you click on compare and analyze. These are going to be the different comparison reports that we're going to talk about today. There are 5 of them here. And I do want to kind of go through each one specifically and show you the output, so show you what the report looks like. And then we'll kind of go through and talk about some different customizing options that you can utilize for your specific church or organization to get the report to look the way that you really need it to, or show you the information that you're looking to show others. Okay, so on the top of page 24, the first report under compare and analyze we're going to talk about is this pledge giving analysis report. In my opinion, this is one of the most flexible reports that we have here in donations. It's really capable of a lot of different things. Even if you're not a pledging church, this can still be a beneficial report to use to focus on giving. All right. It also, in my opinion, probably has the most customizable options as well for really fine-tuning it into the information, the criteria that you need. Okay. So when the report first opens up, you're going to be on the Pledge Giving tab. All right. This is where you first specify who you need on the report. So by default, under this Giving Include, it's going to be on only those who gave. So if you leave this as is, and you don't change anything else on this screen here, you are going to get on your report only people that gave within the time frame. And this time frame is always going to default to the current period, which is going to be for 2022. All right. You can change the date, hit the down arrow, use the calendar. You can type in this field. I typically like to use my number pad on my keyboard and just type in my dates, just digits, no dashes or slashes. Or you can use this -year +year button. These are really starting to pop up a lot more in the software, and these allow you to quickly jump 1 year back or 1 year ahead just by clicking the -year or +year button. All right, so back over to the left, going back to that Giving Include section. You can do all if you wish, and that's going to show everyone regardless of whether they've given or not, only those who gave, or you can do only those with giving from. So you could say, I want people who gave $200, type 200 here, and then you could say to no upper limit. Or you could uncheck upper limit and you could do a range. I want anyone who gave $200 to $1,000. Okay, so not only can you do just those who gave, you can also do a giving range as well if you wish. The next option would be only those who did not give. So if you want to see a report of people who didn't give in 2022, you could simply jump down here and choose only those who gave. All right. Now, with that being said, you can also pair that by using this and or box with pledging information as well. Okay. So we could do, for example, only those who did not give, but we could add with those who pledged. So say you need a report of all your pledgers and those people who haven't given yet, maybe you need to send them a check-in letter or a reminder of what their pledge is. You could run a report for people who pledged, but they haven't given yet towards their pledge if you wanted to do that. So by using and, you can use these two to build off of each other, okay? You can also do only those with pledging from, so just like the giving option above, you could put in a range, or you could do no upper limit, or you could do, again, only those who did not pledge. Now, with that being said, you can focus in a little bit more on your pledgers. So you can pull people who only have a specific pledging type if you wanted. Maybe you just want to see those weekly pledgers. If that's the case, you could uncheck everything except weekly or whatever you might need. Same thing over here to the left. You can also get even more specific. So if you want a report of just people who haven't met their pledges yet, you could uncheck have met all pledges, or vice versa. If you just want to see those people who have met their pledge, you can uncheck have not met all pledges. All right. With all of our reports, I'm always going to recommend that people come in here and play around. You aren't going to break anything by coming in here and putting in a bunch of different criteria until you figure out what you really need. It's a really great way to learn the different reports, is just to come in and change the settings and see the output that you get. Okay, now let me show you this report real quick so you can get an idea of what this layout is going to look like. Again, this is a really handy report. So it's going to show you the name, the different accounts they've given to. So these first group of people, you can see easily that they've pledged because they have that date range in parentheses to general fund. And then if we scroll down here a little further to Maria Henderson and Wendy Miller, they don't have any pledge accounts, but they have given to other accounts. So those accounts are listed here as well. You have for pledgers, their amount frequency, their pledge to date based on the time frame you're running the report, along with what they've given, their over under, and then the percentage of their pledge that they've met. Okay. Now, these columns are customizable. So say you don't need to see a lot of these columns. Say you don't particularly like this percentage column. You can go in and you can easily remove it. So if we jump over here to the columns tab, these are all the different columns you have available. And then over here on the right under visible, these are all the columns that you can move to the right. And if they're over here, they will show on the actual report itself. Okay, so you need address or phone number. You can simply double click those and they will pop over here on the list on the right, and then that address column will be included on your report. So here's their address. All right, let's go back to the Givers column, or the Givers tab, excuse me. The Givers tab is going to allow you to add in some membership criteria. So along with just people who gave, let's say we want to add people of a particular status code. Okay, the book does have several examples on this if you have the book and want to dive in a little bit deeper. But say we want everybody that has a status code of active member, check that, add to selection. Here's my criteria now. I could also come over here to the right and get rid of visitors. You could also get rid of people who don't have a giver number if that's something you wish as well. But if we hit print, now along with only people who have given, it's also only going to give me people who have that active status code as well. Okay. Now the nice thing about these reports is it gives you a summary section at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to show you the summary pledged. So here's the one pledge account that's included on this report. pledged to date, given to date, the over, under, and the percentage met. And then also down here, it's going to give me my summary non-pledged. So this is the given to date and the total amount for my non-pledged giving as well. So a lot of people will call and they will need a report that shows pledged income and non-pledged income. This would be a fabulous report that would give you the separates. All right, let's clear this out. Now up here at the next tab, you have the Accounts tab. You can pick and choose what account you want to see on the report. So if you leave it as is, all accounts will be included on the report, or you could just move a couple over. Say you want to do a couple non-pledged accounts. These 5, let's say. We'll hit print, and then the report is again only going to show us the income that came into those specific accounts that we selected, and then here's our non-pledged summary at the bottom. We already talked about the columns tab, but you do have some good options here. And then you have the sort tab as well. You can set it in a lot of different sort orders here. A lot of people I talk to like to organize it by total pledged or total given and then do it in a descending order so they can see the top givers or the top pledgers at the top and then work down through the list. Or if you go with giver name, you're going to get strictly alphabetical order. Giver number is going to give you numerical order. Fonts tab is going to allow you to do a little bit more customizing if you wish, and then some additional options here. You can go through if you like to see the category indicator, whether they're a member or visitor, or include the D for a donations giver. All right, let's move on to the next report, the campaign comparison. If you are a pledging church, this is a really, really great report to utilize to be able to compare one campaign to the next. So the first tab that opens is going to show you all of your campaigns. I'm going to just move over, let's do 21 and 19. Double-clicked each of them and they popped over to the right. So campaign 1 is 2021. Campaign 2 is 2019. Where did my 2021 go? My 2020 go? Maybe I don't have one set up. So I'm going to leave them like this. Givers tab, again, same we just talked about. If you want to include any membership criteria, remove visitors, or only pull people with certain giver numbers, you would do that here. Columns tab, here's what's going to be included. So the giver, how much they pledged, how much they gave. And then these columns down here are going to show me the difference. So the difference pledged, the difference given, the percent difference, and the percent difference given. So it's going to do some calculations for me. So if I hit print, this is going to really give me a clear-cut view of my 2021 pledging campaign and then my 2019 pledging campaign. So it's going to calculate for these people along the left side what they pledged and what they gave for each of those campaigns, and then it's going to show me or calculate the difference. So the difference pledged between campaign 1 and campaign 2, and then the difference given, and then it's going to show me the percentage. So this is a really great report for you to see a trend or the changes in your different campaigns from one year to the next. And you can compare several of them. The only problem is when you start to compare too many, the report gets a little harder to read because it'll bump down onto the next page. But you can compare as many as you wish. You also have the sort tab, just like we had before. You can specify if you'd rather have it in number or name order. And then again, the fonts tab, and then the additional options tab as well. All right, let's move on to our next report, giving comparison. This report is really helpful when you want to do just that. You want to compare giving within a specific time frame, okay? So you actually specify the date ranges that you're wanting to compare here on the Giving Ranges tab. So I'm going to go back to 2019, and again, I'm just using my number pad on my keyboard. I'm not typing any dashes or slashes, just all the digits. Once I get my first range in, I'm going to hit add range and it's going to pop below. All right. Then if I want to compare 2020, I'm going to simply hit this plus year, and that's going to add 2020, plus year, and that's going to add 2021. All right. So I want to compare giving for 2019, 2020, and 2021 to each other. All right. Over here to the right, you have some options for how much detail you want to see for this report. So I'm going to leave it on all detail and totals first to show you. And I'm going to hit print, and then the report is going to do just that. It's going to take 2019, 2020, 21, and then it's going to give me the totals for these people. All right. Now, when we do all detail, it's going to give me the totals not only for each person, but for each giving account that they gave to. Okay. If that's a little too much information for you, come back here and you can switch it to just giver and grand totals. Hit print, and then it's going to take out that detail for you. So it's just going to list each person and how much they gave each year. And then same thing if you do grand totals only. Very simple report. It's just going to give you the grand total per year. Same thing here. You have a Givers tab, so you can include some membership criteria if you wish. Accounts, you can select as many accounts as you want by moving them over to the right. Columns tab, not a whole lot you can do here, but you do have the option to include the amount difference given or the percentage difference given. So this will calculate between the time frames you're comparing the difference and the amount difference. Again, sort tab, fonts, additional information. Okay. Now keep in mind, one thing I do want to talk about back on this giving ranges tab is you don't have to do a year. You could put in each month of 1 year if you wanted, or you could do quarters. The nice thing about this is you have the option to choose what date ranges you are wanting to compare. Okay, so that's the giving comparison. We're trucking along here. Let's move on to the step report. I went ahead and put these steps in earlier just to save some time, but when you enter this, you only enter in the amount in the low column. All right, so the software is going to automatically calculate the high. So my last step, for example, is $5,000 and more. If I wanted to take it to $10,000, I could create that 5,000 to 10,000 step, hit tab, and then it's going to create this new step for me. So you enter in the amount, you hit your tab key, and it's going to then calculate the high and then bring you down for a new low if you want to. Now the step report, just so you know, it's going to take these steps as you've created them, and it's going to tell you who gave and how many people gave within each step. So how many people then the first step would be giving a penny to $19.99, $20 to $49.99, and so forth. And you can do this for giving or pledging, and by default it's going to look at the whole year. So it's up to you. You can come in and you can edit the date range if you want to look at a different time frame or go back and look at different years. So I'm going to hit print so you can see what this is going to look like. So it's basically going to, in bold, give you each step, who gave, how much they gave, if they've pledged, and then how many people make up that specific step. So this is a really good report to kind of give you an idea of what range people fall into of what amount they're giving for the year. And you can, of course, switch that to pledging information if you want to. You could do page breaks if you want it to be separated out by page per step. Or you can do the summary only option if you're not interested in seeing specific people's names. You strictly just want the step, the count, and the total given. You can come in here and add some giving and pledging information here as well. If you only want to do this for people who gave or only people who pledged or maybe people who didn't pledge. You guys, I've explained this tab before, but you can come in here and really customize this to pull who you need. Again, Accounts tab, pick your certain account or accounts that you want on the report, or skip over the Accounts tab if you want to include every account. Givers tab, pull in that membership data or that membership criteria if you wish. And the Columns tab, again, not much customizing here, but let's say you're not a pledging church, so you don't want to see that total pledged column. You can leave it on just giver, total given. Here's your sort order, your fonts for customizing, and then some additional options as well. Okay, the last report is the statistical report. I actually just showed this to somebody the other day, and this report is really nice to see your totals, how much money came in on the days you entered in donation. So let me show you the horizontal layout first. I am going to check to include my month totals. Now keep in mind this is just sample data, so I'm not going to be current through April. But the way this report works is it's going to show me the month of giving, and then these numbers are the actual days of that month that donations were put in. Okay, so the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th of January donations were entered. Here is the total donations for those days, and then here's the grand total for the month of January, and then it's also going to calculate the average giving for that day as well. And then it will go down through, obviously you'd probably have your giving up through April, so you would have April down here along with some grand total information down here at the bottom. Okay. If you don't like this vertical or this horizontal layout, you can switch it down to vertical. I think vertical is a little easier to read to me, but it's really up to you. Again, this will show you your month, list the dates out fully, and then the total and the average as well. Same thing, filter column. You can go in and pick specific things if you want to filter down. Columns, not a whole lot you can do here, but you can get rid of average if you don't like that. And then you have your fonts as well. And if you have the book, really check out the book. There's a lot of good examples in there that you can play around with too in your specific data if you want to get some more information about what the reports can do. That is everything I wanted to show you today for the different comparison reports.